What's up? It's your Chic Mortgage Millennial coming to you with another video about some mortgage things. So I'm not even gonna lie, y'all, I am hot, okay? Because I've been getting ready. I'm about to go to meet with a client. You know, sometimes we still have to go out, collect paperwork, and hopefully I can make it through this video without sweating my whole life away. Okay, so I kind of have my outfit rigged in the back right now because it's hot and I just really hot. Anyway, thanks so much for tuning in to another video. Let's talk about some mortgage things. I get so many different topics from you all, but again, it's just so hard for me to come and make a video. There's so many things that I want to do, but I need time. Time is just not my friend right now. So thanks everyone for your patience, and every time I see a good video topic, I'm like, oh my goodness, I need to make a video about that. Today I'm going to be making a video about networking outside of your network. I feel like networking outside of your network is something that is so important in order for you to be successful in any business. Networking outside of your network, that can be, we all have our bubble, we have our friends, we have our family, and usually when we start a business, those are the first people that we go to. We're going to say, hey friends, hey family, come support me. And usually for some odd reason, depending on, that's my new dog, but depending on what you do, especially if you're in finance, for some reason people don't want to use, don't embarrass me, okay? For some reason, people don't want to use people that they know, and they'll come to you for all of the advice and act like they're going to use you, but everyone goes through that first little betrayal and where they use somebody else and you're just like crushed. But in this business, you kind of get used to it. You learn, okay, I'm not about to be giving all of my advice away for free. It's a learned thing. And unfortunately, you want to be able to get business from your friends, get business from your family. But once you make the decision to network outside of your network, you will grow your business so much, I promise. Now, another thing as far as networking outside of your network, as you know, I'm a licensed mortgage loan originator. There are so many different pieces to mortgages, and you want to have a friend. Look, you might not have to go to lunch, coffee, all of those type of things, turn up with them, but you want someone who you can ask and be like, what does this mean? Because things are constantly changing. So what I mean by that is you want to have a friend who's a realtor. You want to have a friend who's a loan officer. You want to have a friend who is a closing attorney. You want to have a friend who's a closer. You want to have someone who does, come here. All right, so this is my new dog, right? He's gonna be big. He is a standard poodle. He's already big. Look at this. And he aggravating. Okay, so maybe he'll act right if he's right here. You want to have someone who is in all of these different fields, because let's say you come across a question or a concern, and people in the transaction, they're only going to give you so much information. And a lot of times when you're in a real estate transaction, if it's people that you're not working with, everyone is busy. Everyone is just, they're going to give you the bare minimum, as you may know. So you want to have someone that you can call and be like, hey, I'm in this scenario. Can you give me advice, or can you help me understand what they're trying to say? So for example, I had a situation yesterday. I'm working with a client who's doing a cash out refinance. He's doing one in California with a loan officer there, and he's also doing one with me. He's doing it on 2 of his investment properties. And we are about to close, or getting close to wrapping everything up. And the title company, they reach out and they're like, oh, he's going through a divorce, he can't close this loan, we can't close this loan. So I'm like, what do you mean? Like, we told y'all he was going through a divorce because his wife was on title, and they were like, okay, do we want his wife, is his wife on the loan? Is she gonna be removed from title? Basically, what's going on? So we told her, or whoever the person was, yeah, he's going through a divorce. He wants his wife to be removed from title. So it's like, okay, let's do a quick claim deed. It's like, okay, cool. So we know some of the different terms, like yes, they're on all of our tests, they're on all of our whatever, but they're only going to give you the bare minimum information. Like if you're taking a loan officer exam, you may get some real estate questions, but you're not going to get as much real estate information as if you were taking the real estate exam. And then the same thing, we might get some information about title, like you need to know about this, you need to know about that. But if you're honestly not using those skills every day, you're not gonna know everything that's going on. I'm not a closing attorney, I'm not a closer, so I don't necessarily deal with the title side of things. But whenever you go through an experience, you'll know, hey, okay, I know what to do in the future whenever this situation happens, and that's how you become a successful loan officer. Anyway, they're like, yeah, we can't do it. And I'm just like, you know, I never accept no. Some loan officers, they'll be like, well, they said we can't do it. So, you know, first thing I do, I try to call on the operations side, processing, to see, have you ever been in this situation? You know, I don't know why, if he has another loan that he's about to close on, he was doing that loan before us. They haven't said that they've had any issues. So what is the problem? Why are they just saying, oh, we can't do it? Can't, never could. So she's like, well, I don't know. I told her to look into it, do some research, let me know what she finds out. Then I reached out to my branch manager or my area manager, both of them, because I'm like, I don't accept no. But I'm like, have y'all ever had this situation? And they're like, well, no, it makes sense. It makes sense, but I don't see why. It's like everyone keeps saying the same thing. I'm like, okay, well, check, let me ask somebody else. So I'm like, I know this girl that works for a closing attorney, let me call her. She kind of broke it down a little bit for me, and I had another person break it down. So just having like those two different people who, okay, they're closing attorneys, they work on, I think one of them was an attorney and one of them was a closer, but they can give you kind of insight so you can explain to your customer. Because the first title company, when I called them too. I call everybody, like, don't tell me no. But the first company that I called, they were like, the one that we were working with, they said, well, California laws are different than Georgia laws. I'm like, that's not an answer. Like, you don't want to go to your borrower and be like, well, I don't understand, why can't we do it? California laws are different than Georgia. No, like, tell me why. Tell me the deets, okay? I'm not trying to be looking crazy. I need to know. Anyway, so I needed to find an answer. I wasn't gonna stop until I found an answer that can give him, one, a plan of action for a future. It's like, okay, we need the divorce decree. When is your divorce? This is also what you need. Like, I want to be able to wrap it up. I'm not just going to come and tell you we can't do this. It needs to be a we can't do this but. And I learned that a long time ago. That is a major key to success, because no one on earth wants to just hear, oh, we can't do it. I don't care if you're saying, hey, we can't do it, but you need $1 million. We can't do it, but if you have $1 million, we'll be able to do it. So they can say, okay, well, let me go ahead and raise my $1 million, and, you know, they have a reason to come back to you. They said, well, we would need his divorce decree, and Georgia is an equity state, so blah, 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 all that stuff. And I'm like, okay, good, that makes sense. Now I call him and I am able to explain to him why we can't do it and what we would need in order to move forward, because the company that we were working with, they never said what we needed to do to move forward. They were just like, well, we can't close this loan. And I'm just like, but we can't, like, we are though. I go to him and I told him what was needed, and he's like, oh yeah, that's fine. I said, so when is your divorce going to be finalized? Because now I can have a conversation, because I know a little bit of what's going on. And he's like, well, it should be finalized in 2 to 3 weeks. So I'm like, okay, so that's no problem, because we were trying to see, well, I was trying to see if we needed to put a hold on the appraisal, because the appraisal, it hadn't been completed yet. And I didn't want him to pay for the appraisal if, you know, it's something that we can't do. Or maybe he's like, yeah, the divorce isn't going to be finalized for another year, then we don't need to move forward with the appraisal. So those are all of the things that I'm trying to figure out as I'm going through the process. If I didn't have those connections or have several people to ask, then I wouldn't know what to do to overcome that situation. Another thing, whenever I'm working with real estate agents, many of you all know my mom, she's a real estate agent as well. A lot of them don't know everything. No one knows everything, but a lot of them, some of them might not know a lot. Some of them know a little, some of them know a lot. It just depends. I've had people who have asked me questions like, you know, do you know what amendment is needed for this? Or do you know, what verbiage I should put here in order to, go back to the seller? Or what would you advise? Like, they always ask us what would we advise? And I'm not a real estate agent, but I can try to find out, you know, the right thing. So I'm all about closing the deals. So it's a partnership. Like, we might have to network with people who are in the transaction and outside of the transaction to get this deal closed. Because if you can't find the information, no one's gonna help. They're gonna say, oh, well, let me know how it works out. Let me know, or do we need to continue or do we need to stop? It's just very important to have so many different pieces. If I'm working on a loan and let's say the guidelines are kind of strict, I might ask another loan officer that works with another company and say, hey, does your company do this? What are their guidelines? Do they have any overlays? And kind of compare. Or if you get usually with my conditions, any condition that I feel like is an obstacle, luckily I have my sister because she's a mortgage processor. So you want to have a good relationship with your mortgage processor. She's not my processor anymore, but it's okay. But you want to have a good mortgage processor who knows guidelines in and out, because they have like maybe 50, 60 loans in their pipeline sometimes, and they can see more situations than probably you've seen. Like, hey, what do people normally give when the underwriter asks for this, or what such and such. Like, you want to have people that you can go to outside of your network. So network outside of your network. Whenever I find someone, they're in real estate, whether they're in real estate or not, but definitely if they're in some type of real estate related field, I'm like, give me your business card. What's your, you know, what do you do? Da 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 da. Like, I need your cell. Like, I need to be able to text you. It's so important. Don't just, some people, they come in and they're just like, oh yeah, I just stay in my office, or I just, you know, if they're on my team, I work with my team, or they just go back and get information very close. You need to network outside of your network. It will change your life and it will help you make more money, because you're not going to be losing deals for lack of information. I know about loans. You want to have someone who knows about everything about real estate. You want to have someone who knows about appraisals. You want to know people who are like general contractors who can help you with situations when it comes to repairs. Like, if it's a situation where an appraisal needs something and the buyers don't understand, the seller don't understand, nobody understands, you can be that person that's like, oh yeah, well, they actually need this and this and this and that to get done, because every time the appraiser goes out to re-inspect the property, the buyer has to pay for that. And you don't want it to be kind of like for them to fix the wrong thing, or the appraiser to have to keep going out. Oh my gosh, I've had situations where the appraiser had to keep going out because there was like miscommunication on what needed to be done. So I actually got on the phone. Like, we're not supposed to talk to appraisers, so they say, you know, guidelines, all those type of things. But there was so much miscommunication, and I was just like, I found the appraiser's contact information. And when I talked to him, he was like, oh, that's all y'all need? Yes, that's all we need. Like, it just, the communication was just not there. And, you know, he visited the property several times, and I was just like, bruh, this should not take this long. Of course, you want to make sure that you have a good relationship with people who can provide rushes. Let's say if it's a situation where you need to clear to close ASAP, right now. You can go to an area manager or a branch manager that has a connect. You want to be pleasant with everyone. Even putting out fires, like sometimes I don't like working with everyone that I work with, but I want to make sure that they leave having a pleasant experience. They can't leave saying, oh, she was rude. No one could ever say that I'm ever rude. Sometimes dry, straightforward, straight to the point, yes, but I'm going to continue to speak with you until the situation is resolved, and I'm very calm when I speak. Some people are not. Another example is I was working with a processor. She was just straight overwhelmed. That was this week. After the holiday, she has 300 emails, so much is going on, and she was just really dropping the ball to the point where like they were about to transfer her off of this loan that I'm working on. And I think people want to gauge, because loan officers, they're assholes. Like, they wanted to gauge like how I was. So once like it was like a fire. It's like my phone kept ringing, like, you know, people calling, checking in, like, are you okay? Are you good? Because they want to make sure that you're good, that you're not like about to leave the company over this stuff. And I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm going to reach out to her and see what's going on, because we were just not on the same page. And it's like one band, one sound, like, what's going on? And some people are very frantic, like they cannot handle pressure, and I feel like that's just her type of personality. And I had to call her because, one, I need to know where we are with this loan. I need to know where you are in as far as communication, what has been requested from my buyer, what has not been given, like what is the standstill, because all she kept saying is she hasn't been able to speak with him. Every time I call him, he answers the phone. So like, what is the issue? So instead of me, you know, getting upset, being like, hey, I reached out to her, and she's like, well, I sent you the email that, you know, da 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 da. And I'm like, that is the first email. You were supposed to go back and amend that because those conditions were not correct for whatever reason. It's a long story. I'm not going to go into the story. But, you know, some people just blurt out stuff and say, oh, well, I sent it, or oh, I did this. And I'm like, you did not. What you sent me was this, this, and that. Have you gotten an update? I'm more so like, what is the word? Solution oriented. Like, I don't really care about all of the woes, the me's, the emotions, all of that stuff. And I'm not going to be rude. I don't deal with a lot of fluff. It's like, let's pull out all of the fluff. I'm glad you got all of that fluff out the way. Now, what do we need to do right now in order to resolve this issue? And we sorted through it, because she thought that I was going to be mad at her, which it's business. Like, I have no reason to be mad. I don't get mad. It's business. This is about money. She felt like I was going to be mad at her, so she automatically, as soon as she got on the phone, was defensive. Like, well, this happened, and this, that, and my truck blew up, and this, and I'm just overwhelmed, and I took off 2 days, and nobody worked on my loans, and, you know, da, 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 da. And I'm just like, okay, now that you've gotten all that out the way, the last email that I was on was this, and you were supposed to go back, and then, you know, she's able to tell me what's going on, how she's going to follow up, what information she needs to follow up with me on. And it's like, let's create a plan of action. Let's not talk about how the spaceship didn't go to the moon and all of this extra stuff. Like, what are we gonna do to resolve this issue? Once we created a game plan, her tone changed. She calmed down, because she was on 10. It's like, bring it on down. I'm not on 10. I'm not on 10. And she apologized. She was like, you know, I'm just sorry I came off like kind of aggressive in the beginning. I'm just going through a lot, and, you know, and I'm just like, it's okay. It's okay. But the reason that she did that is because I still need her. Like, some people have attitudes, even sometimes, like, some people will have attitudes, and it's like, you do know you need me to fight for you, right? You might not want to make me mad. And I live by that too, but I really, even if, like, people can't make me mad, but some people will stop giving effort, and I found that out a long time ago. Some people will stop giving effort if they feel like you are not on their team. So I'm on everybody's team, and that is going to help you, because if you just continue to network, build relationships with people, it will really help you take your business far. And you'll also know how to overcome different objections, which we all want to close a loan. But if somebody, let's say with the situation with the title company, if they would have came to me and said, hey, we can't close this loan because he's getting a divorce, and I would have just been like, well, they said we can't close the loan because you're getting a divorce, then the loan wouldn't close, because the buyer's just gonna be like, okay, well, they said I can't do it, I'll just try to see if I could do it somewhere else. Versus me trying to figure out what needs to be done or going the extra miles. I have an appointment to go to. I think I talked too long, but I'm going to try to, I'm not going to make any promises. Hopefully that information helped, and you can use that to network, follow people on social media. A lot of people that I follow, I have a whole separate social media just for mortgages, because I'm like, I know people don't want to hear me talk about mortgages all day. I know my family and friends don't want to hear me talk about mortgages all day, and they probably ain't gonna send me no deals anyway. So I have my own separate following for that, and you know, you just want to get your target audience, build your network for whatever it is that you do, and that can transfer into so many different fields, so many different arenas. So again, hopefully this video was helpful. I have another video that I want to make, but if not, I'll try to get you another video pretty soon. Okay, so thanks for tuning in. Again, this is your Chic Mortgage Millennial coming to you with a video about some mortgage things. Follow, share, like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.